Hello everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. If this is your very first time, my name is TO MAKORO and it's always amazing having you all here in my kitchen. Today we are going to be making our very authentic, delicious, very basic and very simple Ghanaian okro stew. This is going to turn out amazing, delicious. You can eat it with your banku, you can eat it with eba, whatever you want to eat it with. So please stay tuned and enjoy. So as usual, I'm going to be showing you our ingredients, and I have here some garden eggs. These are my okra. You can use more or less depending on your amount of soup. I have here my beef. I also have here some onions. I love onions. And I have here ginger. You definitely want ginger and garlic in your okra stew. It's going to make it delicious. I also have here some scotch bonnet pepper, and as an extra I have here some wele or pomo, and I also have here some saltpeter or keum as we call it here in Ghana. I have a tad bit of that. I also have palm oil. I have tomatoes, and these are the very basic ingredients I'm going to be using for today's recipe. Nothing extra, very basic okra stew. Okay, so I'm going to first begin by cutting up my wele. As you can tell, I have washed my wele very well. It's really annoying when you are chewing wele and then you bite into sand. So annoying. So make sure you wash your wele very well, and I'm going to be boiling it with some scotch bonnet pepper and salt. That is going to make the wele softer and more delicious. If you don't do that process to your wele, try it out from today and you will thank me later. So going on, I'm going to start prepping my ingredients, and as you can tell, I'm trying to cut up my garden eggs, and I'm going to dice it into tiny pieces for our stew or soup, however you want to call it. So while prepping your ingredients, make sure to keep checking up on your wele. So as you can see, my wele is well boiled. In fact, the water is even finishing from the wele. So the wele is well boiled. It's very tasty at this point. So I just dished it out, and I'm going to go ahead and also prep my okra. I'm going to be cutting up some, and I'm going to be grating some to give my okra stew a more slimy feel. Okay? While we prep the okra, let's get interactive in the comment section. Okay, how are you guys doing? I want to know how you are doing. Are you doing well? Which of my recipes have you tried so far? How did it turn out? Don't forget to always tag me on social media if you try any of my recipes. I really like to see how it turned out. Okay, so let's get interactive in the comment section. So as you can tell, I have cut up my okra, and I'm going to be grating a tad bit of it because I want my okra stew to have a very slimy feel. So you can choose to cut up all of your okra, but then if you grate the whole amount of okra, if you grate the whole lot, the soup is going to be very slimy. So you can choose to cut all or cut some and grate some, or some people who want their soup very slimy, you can choose to grate all of your okra. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting up some onions in addition, and we are good to go. Yeah, so I have some boiling water on fire, and I'm going to be pouring in my garden eggs first, because garden eggs take quite a longer time to cook than the okra. So I'm going to pour in the garden egg and allow it to boil for about 2 minutes before I add in the okra. So I poured in my garden egg. I added in my chopped onions for flavor and a boost in aroma. Aroma is everything. So added in some onions, and this is 2 minutes later. My garden eggs have started boiling, and I'm just going to be adding in my okra at this point. I know most people don't like saltpeter or kale, but just know that this is a very, very, very optional step. Nothing will happen to your soup if you skip this step. Okay, I just personally like it because it makes the soup more slimy, but you can totally omit this step and your soup is going to turn out great. Okay, but then even if you are going to add in some, just add in a little bit, like a little piece of the kale, and your soup is going to be fine. So after adding in that, don't cover your okra at that point because it's going to lose the slime. So just leave the pot open to boil while you prep the rest of your vegetables. So I'm just cutting up my ginger and garlic for blending while my okra, garden eggs and onions are boiling. So I have here in a pot some washed meat, and then I have blended onion, blended ginger and garlic, blended pepper in the pot, and I'm going to be adding in some stock cube and also some salt to taste. Okay, so I thought my camera was on when I was washing the meat and adding in the blended spices, but while editing I realized that I didn't actually record that part. So I added in the blended spices and then a bit of stock cube and salt. I'm just going to give this a good stir, and then I'll add in a little bit of water to help the meat to boil. And also the water I added is quite substantial because I am not going to be adding in any extra water during my stew making process. I'm just going to be using the stock from this boiling beef to make my stew, and it's going to make it very, very flavorful and very tasty. So be quite generous with the amount of water you use to boil your meat, because that is the same water for your stew or soup. Okay, now that we are done with that, I am adding in some palm oil into a pan on fire, and I have added in some onions. I totally love the taste of onions in my okra stew. It tastes amazing. Then, as you can see, I've also broken some scotch bonnets into the oil to also fry and diffuse some flavor into the oil. And I added in back my wele at this point so that the flavors can start infusing into the wele. You know how wele is. You have to infuse it with flavors to make sure you enjoy your wele experience. So I've added in my wele, and I've also poured in my blended tomatoes, and I'm going to bring that to a boil for about 5 minutes. So it's about 5 minutes later, and my tomato is fairly boiled. At this point, I'm adding in the rest of my blended onions. I'm going to add the rest of my blended scotch bonnets, add in my ginger and garlic paste, and then I'm going to bring it to a stir. Don't forget, you can play around with your spices. You can add in what you like and remove what you don't like from what I have used, okay? Just be very versatile. I'm also adding in the rest of my stock cube. So I used 1 stock cube for this whole pot of soup. I used half for the meat and half for the soup itself. I also added in some curry powder, and I'm adding in salt again to the soup itself. And then I just have here some blended red cayenne pepper. Yes, I know the pepper looks a lot, but it's actually not hot at all. It's not hot at all, but you can always adjust it to your preference, okay? This is about 3 minutes later, and I am going to be adding in my meat and stock, okay? So I have poured in my meat and stock, and like I said, that stock is going to be the only water I'm going to be using to cook the stew or soup. I'm not going to add in any other water again. It's going to make it very flavorful. Then our okra goes in. Look at it, guys. Look at it. Just take a good look at it. So slimy, so delicious looking. This soup tastes amazing. If you think it looks good, trust me, it tastes better. So after adding in your okra and garden egg, give it a good stir, okay? And at this point, your okra is cooked, your stew base is also cooked. So you are just going to stir them together so that you can marry the okra and the stew base together to bring that amazing flavor out. So this now is not going to be on fire for long. I'm just going to leave it to simmer a bit. Then for my garnish, I added in some onions and scotch bonnets, and voila, our very basic, very simple Ghanaian okra stew / soup is ready. There are no extra serere ingredients in this pot of soup. This is a very basic but very, very, very delicious pot of soup. I totally enjoyed myself eating this with banku. You can choose to eat it with whatever form of swallow you want to eat this with, and it is going to be amazing. So please do try this out. Let me know how it turns out and tag me on social media if you do, okay? Thank you so much for watching up to this point. Don't forget to click the like button and share this video to all your family and friends. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and notification bell if you are not already part of the family, yeah? Till our next video, keep cooking amazing, delicious dishes. Take care of yourself and be happy. Bye!